Odyssey, Book 15, Telemachus called home, Theoclymenus, the life of Eumaeus. But Pallas Athena went her way to wide dancing-grounded Lacedaemon to remind the shining son of great-hearted Odysseus of his homecoming, and to stir him to return. She found Telemachus and Nestor's splendid son, sleeping in the forecourt of glorious Menelaus. Nestor's son at least, mastered by soft sleep, but no sweet sleep held Telemachus. Through the ambrosial night cares for his father kept his heart awake. And grey-eyed Athena stood near him and spoke. Telemachus, it is no longer good, this roaming far from home with your goods abandoned, and men in your own house of such overbearing insolence, where they will devour it all, dividing your goods among them, and your journey come to nothing. Rouse Menelaus of the great war cry, quickly, to send you off, so you may find your blameless mother still at home. For already her father and her brothers press her to marry Eurymachus. He outbids all the suitors in gifts, and keeps raising the bride price higher. Take care nothing is carried from the house against your will. You know what kind of heart is in a woman's breast. She wants to swell the house of the man who marries her, and of her former children, of the wedded husband she has lost. She thinks no more once he is dead. She asks nothing. No, go back yourself, and put everything in the hands of whichever of the slave women seems the best to you, until the gods reveal to you your honored bride. And another word I will tell you, lay it up in your heart. The best men of the suitors lie in wait for you, deliberately, in the strait between Ithaca and rugged Samos, hungry to kill you before you reach your father's land. But I do not look for that. No, sooner will the earth close over more than one of the suitor men who eat away your living. Keep your well-made ship far out from the islands, and sail by night as well as day, that one of the deathless ones who guards and keeps you will send a breeze behind you. And when you reach the first shore of Ithaca, send the ship and all the companions on to the city, but yourself, before all else, go to the swineherd who keeps your swine, whose heart is loyal to you all the same. Sleep the night there, and send him into the city to carry the news to watchful-minded Penelope, that you are safe, and have come home from Pylos. So speaking, she went away to high Olympus, and he woke Nestor's son out of his sweet sleep, rousing him with a kick of his heel, and said to him, Wake up, Pisistratus, son of Nestor. Bring out the strong-hoofed horses and yoke them under the chariot, so we can be on our road. Then Pisistratus, Nestor's son, answers him, Telemachus, however we press for the road, there is no driving through the pitch-dark night, and it will soon be dawn. Wait then, until the hero Atreus' son Menelaus, famed for the spear, brings his gifts, and sets them in the chariot, and sends us on our way with kindly words. For a guest remembers all his days, the host who shows him kindness. So he spoke, and at once dawn of the golden throne came on, and Menelaus of the great war cry came up to them, fresh risen from his bed, from beside fair-haired Helen. When the dear son of Odysseus caught sight of him, he hurried the shining tunic on about his body, and threw his great mantle over his sturdy shoulders, the young hero, and went out. And coming up beside him, Telemachus, dear son of godlike Odysseus, said, Menelaus, son of Atreus, Zeus-nurtured, leader of peoples, send me back now, at last, to my own dear fatherland, for now my heart is longing to go home. Then Menelaus of the great war cry answered him, Telemachus, far be it from me to hold you here for long, when you strain for home. I would blame another man as much for it, a host who loved beyond measure or hated beyond measure. Due measure is better in all things. It is equal wrong to push out a guest who does not wish to go, and to hold one back who is eager. Cherish the guest who is with you. Speed the one who would leave. Only wait until I bring my gifts and set them in the chariot, beautiful gifts. Your own eyes will see them. And I tell the women to lay a meal in the hall from the plenty stored within. It is both honors at once, the glory and the profit, to dine before you go, over the wide and boundless earth. And if you care to swing through Hellas and the heart of Argos, I will go with you myself. I will yoke you horses and guide you through the cities of men, and no one will send us away as we came. Each will give us one thing at least to carry, some tripod of fine bronze, or a cauldron, or a pair of mules, or a golden cup. Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, Menelaus, son of Atreus, Zeus-nurtured, leader of peoples, I want to go home to our own place now. For when I left, I set no guard behind me over my possessions. I fear I may perish myself, hunting my godlike father, or some fine treasure vanish from my halls. And when Menelaus of the great war cry heard it, At once he told his wife and her slave women to lay a meal in the hall from the plenty stored within. And Eteoneus, Boethos' son, came up to him, just out of bed, for he lived not far away. And Menelaus of the great war cry bade him light the fire and roast some of the meat. He heard and did not disobey. And Menelaus himself went down to his fragrant treasure chamber. Not alone, Helen went with him, and Megapenthes. And when they came to where his treasures lay, Atreus' son took up a two-handled cup, and bade his son Megapenthes carry the mixing bowl of silver. And Helen stood by the chests where her robes lay, worked all over with figures. She had made them herself. Helen lifted one of them out, shining among women, the one loveliest in its weaving, and the amplest, glittering like a star. It lay lowest of all the rest. Then they went back up through the house until they reached Telemachus, and fair-haired Menelaus said to him, Telemachus, your homecoming as your heart desires it, may Zeus accomplish, the loud thundering lord of Hera. Of all the treasures lying stored in my house, I will give you the most beautiful, the most honored. I will give you a wrought mixing bowl. All silver it is, and its rims are finished off in gold, the work of Hephaestus. The hero Phaedamus gave it, king of the Sidonians, when his house sheltered me on my way home there. This I would send with you. So speaking, the hero Atreus' son set the two-handled cup in his hands, and strong Megapenthes carried in the shining mixing bowl of silver and set it before him. And Helen of the lovely cheeks stood by with the robe in her hands and spoke a word and named him. I too have a gift for you, dear child, this, a keepsake of Helen's hands, against the hour of the marriage you long for your bride to wear. Until then let it lie in your dear mother's keeping, and may you come rejoicing to your well-built house in your own fatherland. So speaking, she set it in his hands, and he received it gladly. And the hero Pisistratus took the gifts and stowed them in the chariot basket, wondering at them all in his heart. Then fair-haired Menelaus led them into the house, and the two of them sat down on benches and high seats. A handmaid brought water for their hands in a pitcher, a beautiful golden one, and poured it over a silver basin for them to wash, and drew up a polished table beside them. The grave housekeeper brought bread and set it before them, laying out delicacies in plenty, giving gladly of her store. And close by, Boethus' son carved the meat and shared the portions, and the son of glorious Menelaus poured the wine. And their hands went out to the good things spread before them. But when they had put away desire for food and drink, then Telemachus and Nestor's splendid son yoked the horses and mounted the inlaid chariot, and drove out of the gateway and the echoing porch. And after them came Atreus' son, fair-haired Menelaus, bearing honey-hearted wine in his right hand, in a golden cup, for them to pour before they went. He stood before the horses, and pledging them he spoke, Farewell, young men, and carry my greeting to Nestor, shepherd of the people. Truly he was gentle as a father to me while we sons of the Achaeans made war at Troy. Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, All this, Zeus nurtured just as you say, we will tell him when we come. And would that I as surely, arriving home in Ithaca, might find Odysseus in the house, and tell him how I came from you, having met with every kindness, and bring home treasures many and fine. And even as he spoke, a bird flew by on the right hand, an eagle, carrying in its talons a huge white goose, a tame one, out of the yard. And men and women streamed after it, shouting. And the eagle, closing near them, shot off to the right, in front of the horses. At the sight their hearts lifted, the spirit warmed in every breast, and among them Pisistratus, Nestor's son, began, Read it, Menelaus, Zeus nurtured, leader of peoples. Is it for us too the god has shown this sign, or for yourself? So he spoke, and Menelaus, dear to Ares, pondered how he might read it rightly and reply. But long-robed Helen was before him and spoke out, Hear me, and I will prophesy as the immortals cast it in my heart, and as I think it will be accomplished. As this beagle snatched the goose fattened in the house, coming out of the mountain where his kin are, and his birthplace, so Odysseus, after much suffering and much wandering, will come home and take his vengeance, or even now he is home already, planting evil for all the suitors. Then clear-headed Telemachus answered her, May Zeus grant it so, the loud thundering lord of Hera. Then even there I would pray to you as to a god. He spoke and laid the whip to the horses, and they, full of fire, sprang quickly through the city toward the plain. All day long they shook the yoke they bore between them. The sun went down, and all the ways grew dark, and they came to Pherae, to the house of Diocles, son of Ortilochus, whom Alpheus fathered. There they slept the night, and he set guest gifts before them. When dawn appeared, the early born with fingers of rose, they yoked the horses, and mounted the inlaid chariot, and drove out of the gateway and the echoing porch. And he whipped them to a run, and the pair flew on, nothing loath. And soon they came to the steep citadel of Pylos. Then Telemachus spoke to the son of Nestor. Son of Nestor, will you undertake a thing for me, and see it done, as I ask? Guest friends from of old, we may call ourselves, from our father's friendship, and we are of one age besides, and this journey has set us still more of one mind. Do not drive me past my ship Zeus nurtured. Leave me there, where the old man will keep me in his house against my will, aching to host me, and I must get home quickly. So he spoke, and Nestor's son debated with his heart how he might undertake it rightly, and see it done, and as he waited, this seemed to him the better way. He turned the horses toward the fast ship and the shore of the sea, and in the ship's stern he unloaded the beautiful gifts, the clothing and the gold that Menelaus gave, and urging Telemachus on, he spoke winged words to him. Aboard with you now, quick, and order all your companions before I reach home and bring the old man the news. For I know this well, in my mind and in my heart. So overpowering is his spirit, he will not let you go. He will come down here himself to summon you. And I tell you, he will not go back empty-handed. Angry he will be, whatever happens. So speaking, he drove the fine-maned horses back to the city of the Pylians, and quickly reached the house. And Telemachus called to his companions and commanded them, Set the tackle in order, companions, through the black ship, and let us board ourselves and be on our road. So he spoke, and they listened well and obeyed, and they came aboard at once and took their places at the oarlocks. So he busied himself, and by the stern of the ship he prayed and sacrificed to Athena. And there came up beside him a man from a far country, in flight from Argos for killing a man, a seer of the lineage of Melampus, who once in time past lived in Pylos, mother of flocks, a rich man among the Pylians, in a house of great wealth. But he fled to another people, away from his fatherland and from great-hearted Neleus, proudest of living men, who held his vast estate by force a full year round, while Melampus all that time in the halls of Phylacus lay bound in bitter bonds, suffering strong pains for the sake of Neleus's daughter, and the deep blindness of heart that the goddess laid on him, the fury who strikes the house. Yet he escaped his doom, and drove the deep-lown cattle from Phylace to Pylos, and paid the ugly deed of godlike Neleus back, and led the woman home to be his brother's wife. And he himself went to another people, to horse-pasturing Argos. There it was fated for him to live from then on, ruling over many Argives. There he married a wife and built a high-roofed house and fathered Antiphates and Mantius, strong sons both. Antiphates fathered great-hearted Oacles, and Oacles Amphiaraus, the rouser of armies, whom Zeus, who bears the Aegis, and Apollo loved in their hearts, with every kind of love. Yet he never reached the threshold of old age. He died at Thebes, a woman's bribes, and to him were born sons, Alcmaeon and Amphilochus. And Mantius in his turn fathered Polyphetes and Clitus. But Clitus' golden throne Dawn snatched away, for his beauty's sake, to live among the immortals. And of high-hearted Polyphetes, Apollo made a seer far the best among mortals. Once Amphiaraus was dead, he moved to Hyperesia, angry at his father, and dwelling there he prophesied for all men. It was this man's son who now came up. Theoclymenus was his name, and stood beside Telemachus. He found him pouring wine and praying by his fast black ship, and he raised his voice and spoke winged words. Friend, since I find you burning offerings in this place, I beg you by these offerings, and by the god, and then by your own head and your companions who go with you, tell me truly what I ask, hold nothing back. What man are you, and from where? Where are your city and your parents? Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, Then I will tell you, stranger, and tell you truly. By birth I am of Ithaca. My father is Odysseus, if he ever was. By now he has died some grim death. That is why I took companions in a black ship, and came out for news of my father, so long gone. Then godlike Theoclymenus said to him, So I too am out of my country. I killed a man of my own tribe, and his brothers and kinsmen are many in horse-pasturing Argos, with great power among the Achaeans. It is their death I flee, the black doom of their hands, since now it is my lot to wander among men. Take me aboard your ship, since in my flight I have found you begging, or they will kill me. I think they are on my track." Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, "Then I will not push you, willing as you are from the trim ship. Come with us, there you will be made welcome from what we have." So he spoke, and took the man's bronze spear from him, and laid it flat along the deck of the curved ship. And he himself stepped aboard the sea-going vessel, and sat down in the stern, and beside him he seated Theoclymenus, and his men cast off the stern lines. And Telemachus called to his companions, and commanded them to lay hands on the tackle, and they obeyed him swiftly. They raised the firmast, and stepped it in the hollow mast box, made it fast with the forestays, and hauled the white sail up by the twisted ox-hide halyards. And gray-eyed Athena sent them a following wind rushing hard through the clear sky, so the ship might run her course at speed across the salt water of the sea. And they ran past Crowny and Chalcus of the lovely streams. The sun went down, and all the ways grew dark, and the ship bore on for Phea, driven by the wind of Zeus, and along bright Elis, where the Epeans hold power. From there again he steered her for the sharp islands, wondering whether he would slip past death or be taken. And in the hut, meanwhile, Odysseus and the noble swineherd were at supper, and the other men were at supper with them. When they had put away desire for food and drink, Odysseus spoke among them, making trial of the swineherd, whether he would still befriend him with all care, and press him to stay there at the farmstead, or start him toward the city. "Hear me now, Eumaeus, and all you other companions. At dawn I want to go off to the city and beg there, so as not to wear you down, you and your men. Only advise me well, and send along a good guide to bring me there. And through the town I will drift on my own, I must, in hopes someone will hand me a cup and a crust. And I would come to the house of godlike Odysseus, and give my news to watchful-minded Penelope, and mix with those suitors in their insolence. They might spare me a dinner out of their endless plenty. I would serve well among them, whatever they wanted done. For I will tell you this, take it in, and hear me out. By the favor of Hermes the guide, who lends the grace and glory to all the labor of men's hands, no other mortal can compete with me at service, at building up a fire, at splitting seasoned wood, at carving and at roasting meat, at pouring wine, all that lesser men do waiting on the grate." Then, greatly stirred, you answered him, Eumaeus the swineherd, "Ah, stranger, why has such a thought come into your mind? You must be hungry to die on the spot, if you truly mean to walk into that crowd of suitors, whose arrogance and violence reach the iron sky. Their serving men are nothing like you. They are young, well-dressed in cloaks and tunics, sleek their heads always, and handsome their faces. Those are the men who wait upon the suitors' polished tables, loaded down with bread and meat and wine. No, stay. Nobody is put out by your being here. Not I, and not any of my companions with me. But when the dear son of Odysseus comes, that man will clothe you in a cloak and a tunic, and send you wherever your heart and spirit bid you go." Then much enduring noble Odysseus answered him, "Eumaeus, may you be as dear to Father Zeus as you are to me, for you have stopped my wandering and my grim misery. Nothing is more wretched for mortal men than roaming. It is for the cursed belly's sake men take hard pains, when wandering and sorrow and grief have come upon them. But now, since you hold me here to wait for that young man, come, tell me of godlike Odysseus' mother and his father, whom he left on the doorsill of old age. Are they still living somewhere under the rays of the sun, or dead by now, and down in the house of Hades?" Then the swineherd answered him, a leader of men, "Then I will tell you, stranger, and tell you truly. Laertes is living still, but praying always to Zeus that the life may waste out of his limbs in his own halls. So terribly he mourns for his son, who is gone, and for the wise wife of his youth. Her death above all has broken him, and brought him raw old age before his time, and she died of grief for her famous son, a wretched death. May no one die so who lives here, and is a friend to me, and has dealt with me in kindness. While she still lived, for all her endless sorrow, it was some pleasure to me to ask for her and after her, because she reared me herself, with long-robed Cymene, her stately daughter, the youngest child she bore. With her I was raised, and honored little less. But when the two of us came to the threshold of our prime, they gave her in marriage to Same, and got a fortune for her, while me the lady dressed in a mantle and tunic, fine clothes, and bound good sandals on my feet, and sent me to the farm. But she loved me from the heart still more. Now I go without all that, and yet the blessed gods make the work prosper under my hand, the work I keep to. From it I have eaten and drunk, and given to those I owe respect. But from the mistress herself there is nothing sweet to hear, no word, no kindness, since that evil fell upon the house. Those overweening men and slaves miss it greatly, speaking before the mistress, and learning all the news, and eating and drinking, and carrying something afterward off to the fields, the things that warm a slave's heart. Then Odysseus of the many designs answered him, "Well, how small you must have been, swineherd Eumaeus, when you were carried so far from your country and your parents. But come, tell me this, and tell it to me truly. Was it a wide-wayed city of men that was sacked, the one where your father and your honored mother lived? Or were you alone with your sheep, or with your cattle, when raiders took you into their ships and carried you over to this man's house, and he paid a worthy price?" Then the swineherd answered him, a leader of men, "Stranger, since you ask me this, and want it all, listen in silence now, and take your ease and sit drinking your wine. These nights go on past telling. There is time enough for sleep, and time to take joy in listening. No need to bed down before the hour. Even sleep grows a weariness. As for the rest of you, whoever's heart and spirit bid him, go out and sleep, and at the showing of the dawn eat, and follow out the swine of our master. But we two in the hut over our drink and food will take our pleasure in each other's grim sorrows, remembering them. For afterward a man finds pleasure even in pains, when he has suffered much and wandered far. So I will tell you what you ask me, what you probe for. There is an island called Syri, you may have heard of it, above Ortygia, where the turnings of the sun are, not so crowded with people, but a good land, rich in herds, rich in flocks, full of wine, deep in wheat. Famine never enters that country, nor does any hateful sickness fall on wretched mortals there. But when the generations of men grow old in the town, Apollo of the silver bow comes with Artemis, and visits them with his gentle arrows, and kills them, and everything is halved between them. And over both of them my father was the king, Ctesius son of Ormenus, a match for the immortals. There Phoenicians came, men famed for ships, nawers, with countless trinkets in their black vessel. Now in my father's house there was a Phoenician woman, beautiful and tall, and skilled in glorious handwork, and the Phoenicians, subtle-minded, led her astray. Washing clothes by the hollow ship, one of them first lay with her in love, the thing that leads astray the minds of women, even one whose works are honest. Then he asked her who she was, and where she came from, and she pointed at once to my father's high-roofed house. I claim my birth from Sidon, rich in bronze, and I am the daughter of Erebus, a man of flowing wealth. But Taphian pirates snatched me as I came in from the fields, and carried me over the sea, and sold me to this man's house, and he paid a worthy price. Then the man who had lain with her in secret said, "Then would you come home again with us, to look on the high-roofed house of your father and mother, and on them, for they are living still, and are called wealthy?" Then the woman answered him and said, "Even that could be, if you sailors were willing to bind yourselves by oath to bring me home unharmed." So she spoke, and they all swore the oath she demanded. And when they had sworn and sealed the oath entire, the woman spoke among them again and answered, "Silence now. Let none of your company say a word to me, meeting me in the street or at the well, or someone may go to the house and tell the old man, and he suspecting would bind me in hard bonds, and set his mind on death for all of you. Keep the word in your hearts and press the buying of your cargo, but when your ship is full and freighted with goods, let a message come quickly to me at the house, for I will bring gold too, whatever comes under my hand. And there's another thing I would gladly give for my passage. I nurse a child of this fine man in the halls, such a knowing little thing, always running out beside me. I would bring him aboard the ship, and he would fetch you a boundless price, wherever you sell him among strange-tongued men." So speaking, she went off to the beautiful house. And they stayed among us a whole year long, and bought and gathered goods in their hollow ship. When the hollow hull was freighted for their crossing, they sent a messenger up to bring the woman word. A man came deep in cunning to my father's house with a necklace of gold, strung here and there with amber, and in the hall the slave women and my honored mother kept turning it in their hands and drinking it with their eyes, offering him their price. And he nodded to the woman in silence. He nodded, then went his way to the hollow ship, and she took me by the hand and led me out through the doors. In the forecourt she found the cups and the tables of the banqueters, the man who attended on my father. They had gone out to the people's session and debate. Quickly she hid 3 goblets away at her breast and carried them off, and I followed, in my child's witlessness. The sun went down, and all the ways grew dark, and we came at a run to the famous harbor, where the sea-swift ship of the Phoenician men was lying. Then they embarked, and went their way over the watery paths, with the 2 of us aboard, and Zeus sent down a wind. 6 days we sailed on, alike by day and night. But when Zeus the son of Cronos brought the 7th day, then Artemis the shooter of arrows struck the woman, and she dropped with a thud into the bilge, like a sea tern. Spoil for the seals and fishes. And I was left alone, my heart aching. Then wind and water carried them along to Ithaca, and there Laertes bought me with his own possessions. So it was my eyes first looked upon this land. Then Odysseus, seed of Zeus, answered him with words, Eumaeus, you have deeply stirred the heart here in my breast, telling all these things, the sorrows your heart has suffered. And yet, I say, Zeus set the good beside the evil for you, since after all that pain you came to the house of a kind man, who provides your food and drink with every care, and you live a good life, while I come to you here as I am, still wandering through the many cities of men. So they spoke to each other of such things, then lay down to sleep. No long time, a little only, for soon dawn came on her fair throne. And on the shore the companions of Telemachus were striking sail. They took the mast down smartly and rowed her into anchorage, and threw the mooring stones out, and made the stern lines fast. And they themselves stepped out into the breaking surf, and readied a meal, and mixed the sparkling wine. And when they had put away desire for food and drink, clear-headed Telemachus began and spoke among them, Row the black ship on now, all of you, to the city. I will make my way to the fields and to the herdsmen, and at evening, once I have looked over the farmlands, I will come down. In the morning I will set before you the wages of the voyage, a good feast of meats and honey-hearted wine. Then godlike Theoclymenus said to him, And where shall I go, dear child? Whose house shall I come to, of the men who hold power in rocky Ithaca? Straight to your mother's house. Is that where I go, and yours? Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, At any other time I would tell you, Come to our house. There is no lack there of what a guest is given. But for you now, it would be the worse way. I will be gone, and my mother will not see you, for not often before the suitors in that house does she appear. Apart from them, she weaves at her loom, upstairs. But I will name you another man you might go to, Eurymachus, glorious son of thoughtful Polybus, whom now the men of Ithaca look on like a god, for he is far the best man there, and hungriest of all to marry my mother and take the honor that was Odysseus. But Zeus the Olympian, who has his home in the bright sky, knows whether before any wedding he will bring their evil day. And even as he spoke, a bird flew by on his right hand, a hawk, the swift messenger of Apollo. In its talons it held a dove and was tearing it, and shook the feathers down to the ground, midway between the ship and Telemachus himself. And Theoclymenus called him apart from his companions, and pressed his hand, and spoke a word, and named him. Telemachus, not without a god did that bird fly past on the right. I knew it, looking at it face on, for a bird of omen. There is no line more kingly than your own in the land of Ithaca. No, yours is the power forever. Then clear-headed Telemachus answered him, Ah, stranger, if only that word might be accomplished, then you would quickly know my friendship, and gifts in plenty for me. Any man who met you would call you blessed. And he turned and spoke to Piraeus, his trusted companion, Piraeus son of Cleisius, you who in other things obey me most of all the companions who followed me to Pylos, now too, I ask you, take this stranger to your house and care for him kindly, and honor him until I come. Then Piraeus, famous for the spear, answered him, Telemachus, even if you should stay out there a long while, I will look after this man, no guest due shall he lack. So speaking he went aboard the ship, and called the companions to come aboard themselves, and loosed the stern lines. And they came aboard at once, and took their places at the oarlocks. And Telemachus bound his beautiful sandals under his feet, and took his strong spear up from the deck of the ship, sharp-tipped with bronze. And the men cast off the stern lines. They shoved out and sailed on to the city, as they were ordered by Telemachus, dear son of godlike Odysseus. But his feet carried him swiftly, striding, until he reached the yard where his swine past counting were, and the Siban the swineherd slept, a good man, whose heart was loyal to his masters.